situation with Arsenal. We're going to start with the Arsenal scenario because Odegaard picked up an injury last night on international duty. It could be as much as 4 months out if there is a ligament tear. If there is a slight tear, it could be up to sort of like 6 weeks. If it's a sprain, they reckon 2 weeks. But ahead of the North London derby, there are reports coming out today that have been shared here that Arsenal could be without 8 players for the North London derby. Spurs looking to get Van der Ven back. This could spell big trouble for Arsenal, LB.
Yeah, 100%, man. But the thing is, this goes back to the transfer window. And I remember doing shows with you at the time, and I said I didn't think Arsenal's transfer window was good enough. You know what I mean? If you actually deep it, yeah, they've gone into the season 4 trophies. Are they in the Club World Cup at the end of the year? Or are they not in that? No.
Of course they're not in there. They don't get anything in Europe.
well, yeah. So they've got 4 trophies to compete for, yeah? 4.
Mm.
This club has 1 proper attacking midfielder. You know that?
Yeah.
Do you not think that is absolutely wild? What's crazy is, yeah, when I raised this on the show and on various different platforms and said, I think you need a creative midfielder. Oh, no, we're all right. We've got this player. We've got that player. The fact is, Arsenal only really have 1 creative player in that midfield, and that's Odegaard. You know what I mean? And you know, why they didn't go and get someone else to rotate with him and back up to him? It's just like they're so slow to react to anything. You know, it took them 2-3 years to get a Raheem Sterling backup. And even then, they've only got Sterling on loan. You know what I mean? They've still not got an out-and-out killer in front of goal, which I felt that they should have done. They're just so slow. And at the end of the day, you know, Arsenal's got to hope and pray that this doesn't cost them, because if they lose the game against Spurs, they're going to be right in the shit, you know, provided that City beat Brentford, which you'd expect City to beat Brentford, despite we do have a bit of a dodgy record against them. This just puts massive pressure. You shouldn't be under this much pressure on match day 4 of the Premier League.
Yeah,
like there is a chance that City could go 8 points clear of Arsenal if obviously Spurs beat Arsenal and City beat Arsenal when we play them at the Etihad. 8 points after 5 games. That is just ridiculous. And ultimately, it comes back down to the transfer window. You know what I mean? I said I didn't think they had a good transfer window. I thought they'd done the bare minimum. You know what I mean? Where's the backup creative midfielder? Where's the striker? Where's the killer? Where's the someone different? And people are saying, we've got Havertz and Jesus. Well, Jesus spends half the time on injured anyway. You know what I mean? And then you've just got Havertz on his own, and you need some different type of player. So, listen, I said it as soon as the transfer window closed. I don't think Arsenal are going to win in the league. I don't think they've got the squad for it. Don't think they've got the backup. And I think their transfer window is going to cost them massively. Having said all that, I still expect them to beat Spurs, to be honest. Because I still think that Spurs and you know, I just think Arsenal will beat Spurs anyway. But even then, if City beat them, you know, we'll be ahead of them again. And I just don't see them catching up. And for me, it just lacks ambition. I look at the transfer windows all the time when I look at Arsenal, and I just think all the time they just lack ambition, man. So they're going to have to hope that it's not a serious injury. They're going to have to hope that he's only out for a game or maybe 2. But for me, nah, this is Arsenal's own doing, man, with their poor transfer window. I really think it's poor.
It's mad. It's actually mad when you deep it, bro, because you got to look at just some of the negligence, bro, right? Some of the decision making from Edu is mad. You know, you get rid of Smith Rowe, you get rid of Vieira as well, who for me isn't good enough to be playing for Arsenal anyway. Smith Rowe, I don't feel like he was really given an opportunity under Arteta. You know, I think Arteta preferred Nwaneri going forward over Smith Rowe. You bring in Marino, who unfortunately gets injured in training, but you haven't got that guy really that can come in for an Odegaard. You know, they kind of speak from a place of privilege where it's like we've had Odegaard, Saka, Saliba last season stay injury free all year, bro. Yeah, and Terry, that's why I always tell you, bro. With Chelsea, in order to compete, we need to keep our main players fit. They've got one of their main players who isn't fit now. We're going into the weekend. And they're panicking already, bro. You're seeing so many people saying we're not going to challenge anymore. We're not going to do this anymore because they're looking at whoever's going to come in for him, and they're scrambling, bro. I'm seeing Igal putting things up about playing Raheem Sterling in the 10. Yeah.
Oh, you don't want to do that, bro.
I'm seeing him talking about playing Sterling in the 10. I'm seeing them talking about dropping Havertz into the midfield as if we haven't seen that experiment fail already. Yeah. I'm seeing them talking about Trossard in there. I'm seeing some people talking about Zinchenko in that position. And already, like LB is saying, in game week 4, the fact that we're having these conversations goes to show that they did not do enough to bring in players in reserve that can take up those positions. Yeah, because a lot of people speak about it all the time. Like I've gone back and forth with Northside about this. He spoke about the bench, Arsenal's bench for a minute. He's been talking about it. Even when they win games, say, yo, this squad is not strong enough. And this season, when I was looking at the transfer business that they were doing in terms of outgoings, I'm like, okay, cool. Arsenal bringing in some money with the likes of Nketiah, the likes of Smith Rowe and that. But in terms of the incomings, I'm not really seeing them strengthening in certain areas. Yeah. Sterling was an opportunity. That wasn't a plan. You know, they didn't plan to bring in Sterling. That kind of fell in their lap and they brought him in. You know, they didn't go bring in a person like a Nico Williams or like a Neto, who I'm like, whoa. You know, I'm trying to say Sterling, bro, he got dumped from Chelsea. Yeah, and then they've picked him up. And then now they're doing the whole copium thing about Arteta. He's going to transform his life. He's going to change him and all of these things. You know, they just haven't done enough, like LB is saying, in certain positions. Like if Saka goes out for a few games, Terry, like I've said, it's peak for them, bro. Yeah, he's their most effective attacker. He gets them the most numbers. It is so peak for them if Saka goes down. Yeah, and Odegaard is a very, very big miss, bro. Because if you look at Arsenal and how they normally play off their right. Yeah, and Saka uses Odegaard as a major part in how he plays. That's why for me, when I was talking about England before, I said I need Palmer to start next to Saka because it will replicate what Odegaard does for Saka for Arsenal for England. That's what he would do. And every time you saw Palmer come on, you saw Saka would play a lot better. Yeah, so it's gonna be very interesting to see how that dynamic works on that right hand side because Odegaard, he hasn't been great this season. But he is a big miss, bro. And he finished off last season very well. Very, very well. So let's see what they do, innit? Let's see what they do, man. Because that midfield going into the weekend, like you're saying, bro, they're missing Rice. They're missing Odegaard. It's very, very peak for them in that midfield. The way Spurs play, pressing and whatnot, it's gonna be a long afternoon.
You know what it is as well, Daniel. I don't understand about it. Like the Eze was right there, bro. It was right there.
Are they broke? Are they broke, LB? Do you just
no, they're not broke. No.
Broke.
Come on, man. No, this is one of the biggest clubs in the country, one of the biggest clubs in Europe. They're not broke. Yeah, no chance they're broke. The Eze was right there. What was he? 55 mil. What was his release clause?
Around in and around that amount of money.
Even expired as well, I think.
Bro, I just don't understand why they just didn't go and activate that. I think that would have been a great signing. I thought that would have been a great signing for Arsenal. It would have strengthened the creativity in the midfield. You could have played him on the wing if you needed to as well. Maybe you could have played him as a sort of false 9 type situation. You could have got him. And Ivan Toney, could you convinced him before he decided to go to Saudi? Again, there was rumours, 40 mil, 50 mil. You could have got them two for about 90 million quid. Job done. This is why, like, when I speak about Arsenal, yeah, I kind of get a little bit frustrated in that, yeah, because I'm quite a passionate football fan. I don't speak about City, but I speak about other clubs here. And you know what it is when I speak about Arsenal, and Arsenal fans don't like this, but the reason I get so frustrated with them is because I always feel that they're so close to success, and they never do enough. I feel like it's just in their DNA. And I go all the way back to the time when they could have signed Luis Suarez. Yeah, they could have got Luis Suarez. If they would have signed Luis Suarez that year, they would have won the league, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't even think it's up for debate. When they 2 years ago in January, yeah, when there was ahead of City by like 8 points, again, did they really go out there and go, we have a serious opportunity of winning the league? No, they brought in Trossard, Jorginho, and someone else. They didn't do enough.
They could have. They went from Caicedo to Jorginho.
Yeah, well, last year, bro, again, did they do enough? They went out and signed Rice, and all of a sudden, I'm sitting there going, oh, damn, this team's serious. And then they just sort of faded off. And it's the same again this season. You know, they get Calafiori in, which I'm not really seeing too much of Calafiori, but, you know, people are telling me it's a good signing. Great. Add that depth in the defence. That's pretty good. You buy this Marino fella who's, you know, is he going to be more of a squad rotation? That's no problem with that. You need squad rotation. And then you actually get Sterling in, who's like a flip of a coin gamble. But where's the serious ambition for an extra 90 million quid, which Arsenal 100% have? They could have got Ivan Toney. So then you have either Havertz or you've got the Ivan Toney style player and you still got Jesus. And then go and get Eze. And all of a sudden, their squad depth has exploded up. You know what I mean? They've got a massive squad depth. They've added the quality, added different types of players. And again, I just don't think they're going to win. They're not going to win the league this year. They won't win the Champions League this year because the squad's not big enough. You can't go into the season, yeah, when you're in 4 competitions and have one creative midfielder.
I think listen, boys, I think you both make some really good points. And a few people said to me earlier on today, what's going to be your excuse now if Arsenal don't win the league? So, well, I don't know if you've seen my predictions. I didn't predict them to win the league. So I don't need an excuse because they weren't my, pick to go on and win it. And that's because I just felt I felt that with the two signings they made, Calafiori and Marino, if they'd have gone out and got a Gyökeres, gone out and got an Ivan Toney, then potentially they could have gone on to win the league. But what has also happened is a little bit of freak bad luck. And that isn't just that they've picked up 3 or 4 injuries. It's 2 of the new signings are out injured, as an example. Declan Rice's red card, yes, by the letter of the law, it was one. But we all know for a fact, I guarantee you people delay restarts in the North London derby and nobody picks up a yellow card. And then you get Odegaard's ankle twist last night. So it isn't just 4 players missing for this game. It's 4 key players and new signings. And sometimes you get bad luck in that way. However, this is now going to be a big, big test, a huge test for this Arsenal squad. And I think not just for the Thomas Partey's and the Jorginhos, but I think, Trossard is going to be a bit more pressure on him now. Kai Havertz, there's more pressure to deliver. It isn't just you're there and part of it. But I also think for the young players, this is a really good acid test for the One-Eries of this world, because they're tipped to be very good players who are going to develop. They've cleared out the squad of the likes of the Smith Rowes and the Fabio Vieiras, and they've said, well, and the decision has been, and Dan Potts ain't here to speak for himself, but I don't know if you remember, LB, he was saying he's looking more at Edu and the board than he is the manager for these decisions, similar to what you just said there, Don. This is where we're going to see whether those decisions are right. Because if One-Ery comes in for the next 2, 3, 4 games and he's brilliant and Arsenal win, get a good result away at the Etihad, suddenly then the conversation takes another turn. But rarely do you see this early in a season such a big acid test for one of the teams. And I'm, again, with no real dog in the fight, I've already resigned myself to City winning their 5th league title on the bounce. I'm intrigued to see how this goes, because I think you're right, Don. The decision-making from Edu and the board in the summer to buy who they did, to limit the spending how they did. Now, there are some reports from Arsenal that it is because they feel they're sailing close to the PSR wind. You've had other financial experts that have come out and said, no, they're not. Interestingly, those same financial experts, when they turn around and say Chelsea have got financial issues, the same people say they're lying and making it up. So I always find it intriguing when people decide to listen to the experts or not. But I'm very intrigued to see how this works out for them as well. What I would say is I don't think their season is over already just because of these injuries. I think some Arsenal fans are massively panicking. I think they're going over the top. Injuries are a normal part of a season. So that's why when I predicted Arsenal to come second this year, I didn't predict this exact sequence of injuries and players missing right now, but it's going to happen. And City will go through a few game periods where Haaland's out, Rodri's out, KDB's got a problem, as an example. It will probably happen, or a combination of that. We know it's going to happen to everybody, and it's how you get through that. And why City are the best, why City win so much, is generally speaking, even when they hit those bumps in the road between the players and the manager, they find a way. Now, this for me, yes, the squad building, look at Edu. I'm now looking at Arteta. I'm now looking at these Arsenal players and saying, how do you persevere through these problematic moments? And for me, I always remember Thomas Tuchel. One of the biggest mistakes he made as Chelsea manager was, do you remember that December a couple of seasons ago, when maybe 3 seasons ago now, where everybody was getting games called off for COVID issues? And they basically scrapped the rule because people were taking the piss. They were almost like pretending they had COVID issues. And Chelsea were the only team that got rejected from not having games off. But Tuchel kind of put out this notion of, got some injuries, everyone else is getting a rest, we're not, this is going to damage us. And I felt that planted a seed in the squad's mind that it was almost okay to lose. There was an excuse. And human beings have this horrible habit of buying into excuses when they're presented to them. So I think what Arsenal fans have got to do, what I think Arteta has got to do, is say, yep, players are out injured, but I do believe in my squad. I do believe in these players, and then put pressure on them to go out there and prove they're good enough. We built this squad. This is our strategy. Go out and do it. And this is where you actually test whether individuals are good enough to take you to that next level. You know, the viewers, the panel, you're all going to have a different view whether or not they're going to get through this next 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games unscathed, still in a good position or not. Would love to get your opinions. So make sure you're sending them in to us.